Football time, baby. I don't think they play this song anymore, do they? They need to throw it back. They got the people. Texas Swarm has got to go. It's football time in Houston. We're ready to play. We got no time to lose now. All right. We're back. We're back. We're
We
back.
are so fucking back. We're recording this right now, 6:55 p.m. Thursday night. We got number one NFL game of the year coming up.
AFC playoff or AFC championship rematch.
Looking
here.
like it's going to be a little rainy. We're really hoping that's going to shed well for my Ravens defense tonight. And by the way, guys, can you match that up perfectly with it? Boom. Guys, we're back first in Zyn Podcast. First, as always, giving tribute. Thanks to Zyn for another year of sponsoring us and just trusting in a show that's, just started with a couple guys playing a little fantasy football.
That's all it was.
And now we have a whole podcast sponsored by a top corporation.
We recently actually purchased the domain rights. Shout out to Boss Hog Conglomerate for getting the domain rights for firstindzyn.com. So we will be really sprucing up that website and excited for the things to come for the pod.
We had a couple people, I think, just looking on the site history, either thinking it was a porn site or just thought you could buy Zins on there. So we're trying to beef those numbers up, get some more intel. But I think we have a great show on tap. Dude, football's back. How can it not?
We're fucking back.
I'll just keep saying it. Football's back. We're back.
We're back.
But really good draft. That was all around. Great to do in the barn. I like the location. A lot of spread out as always. Had the
fantastic, great. The brats were just
brats were phenomenal. They're elite always. Just reminds you of football season. Nice, juicy, fucking beer brat. But yeah, I think there were some clear winners and losers, and kind of structure for today. I think we're going to talk about those winners and losers. Out of respect for the league, we took Tegan and I out. We're ranking 1 through 10 out of respect, because obviously we would have, been a little bit biased. We're taking that out, and pretty close. We did a blind test.
Yep.
And it was not far off. We had 2 consensus, and the other were either within 1 or 2.
Yeah, we were both on the same wavelength. Completely blind drawing here. I do want to mention 2 other things. First, I want to give a shout out to Larry Fitzgerald's couch for the draft night.
Thank you.
We appreciate that, Larry. And also, I saw a couple of the team owners, while making their brats, throw a little French onion dip in the bun. You could probably guess who one of those people were doing that. I was a little thrown off by it, but now I'm intrigued.
I don't know who this is. Can you?
Well, Schmig was one of them, and apparently it caught on because I saw the Hard 8 Dylan Prep going back for this third brat. Also threw a little French onion on there.
Thinking about it conceptually, the hot cold probably combo, like
probably
a hot juicy brat. It's actually probably not.
Might have just came up with something, and who knows? We happen to have a plug with Johnsonville. Could there be a 2025 sour cream or French onion brat coming out in summer of 2025?
Not about it. Look, onion is literally.
It's already in there.
It's already there.
It's just the French part.
There you go. It's like, hey man, we ran out of onion. Yeah. All good, dude. I got the French onion brat. No even need fucking onions.
And the French, they make some good food, baguettes. They make some baguettes, a nice crepe. So we might have found a match made in heaven there. I'll plug you in with Johnsonville, and maybe we'll get some royalties. Maybe the First and Zyn pod might get some royalties from this.
Zins and dogs, baby. Zins and dogs.
As good as a combo as it gets.
But starting off, I think we're just getting hot and heavy. We're going to try and cut down the time a little bit this year. It's very easy for us to get on a rant. We love this fucking game. We love this podcast. We love this league. We love this league. It's extraordinary, gentlemen. So we're going to try and cut it down, make it a little bit more bite-sized, so maybe more people actually watch it this time.
Yeah.
So we're just going to fucking jump right into it. All right. So going through with our draft order, I think it's right that we start at the bottom, the dick sucking area, and then work to the lips. So consensus, both number 10 and 9, again, Tegan and I are out, so it's top 10. 10 and 9 were consensus. Dead last, Kaiser Sose. We do not believe it's going to be a repeat year.
No.
Unless you somehow find Puka Nakua 2.0, and that would be fucking bullshit if that happens again and you're the luckiest person of all time. Don't see it happen.
I'm thinking it's your classic first to worst scenario.
We've seen it. I did the numbers. It's happened before. It can happen. And it looks like you're starting off on that track. Also at number 9, which again, according to the numbers, this guy was more consistent, was Benning.
Yep.
And consensus number 9 pick. Just really don't love the team.
Yeah, with Kaiser Sose, they started out with two, I guess you could call boomer bust type players. The Marvin Harrison going that early. I think you're drafting him.
I don't hate. Yeah, I think
you're drafting him about at his ceiling as a
ceiling.
rookie, which is it's tough to do. I don't think he's going to be a bad player. Don't get me wrong, but to take him there just seems like a little bit aggressive. And then you follow it up with A-Chain, who we know when he plays, he's a dog.
Here's the issue: is his efficiency last year with the amount of carries he had was off the chart. There's no fucking way he has Barry Sanders efficiency 2 years in a row.
No.
That's not happening. Then number 2, volume wise, you still have Raheem Mostert. He's still there. I think honestly, we'll talk about this guy later in the draft. But whoever got Raheem Mostert, talk about him later. I think he's still going to be in the mix. He may not be what he was last year, anywhere close. He's in the mix. And then you have Jalen Wright, who dark horse. I really fucking love Jalen Wright. I'm a college guru guy, and I saw him. Dude ran it. Killed it. 4.4, 4.3 guy out of Tennessee. Kills. You told me that guy's not going to get in the mix too. Like you got to be the same efficiency that you were last year, with possibly less totes.
Don't see it happen. And even if your counter argument to that would be, well, he's going to get more opportunities this year. Mostert's getting a little bit older. They're going to bring him in the mix a little more. Well, then you got a small little guy like that. How many more carries can he take? I think what could save you guys is I think they're going to get him involved like outside in the slot, using a little more in the pass game. Mike McDaniel's in his lab right now. He just got speed everywhere.
Well, just quick hits.
There could be something
let
there.
Him run. I mean, the guy's obviously electric. I'm not questioning the talent. It's more so just the frame, the amount of bodies. We'll get to another player later on in the pod about kind of has a similar situation. But then coming in, both tied at 7th, giving the average here. We actually had them flip-flopped. So I had Caleb at 7, Tegan had him at 6, and then flip-flop between Grizz. I had Grizz at 6, he had him at 7. So tied there at 7th. Anything kind of comment on those teams?
I think with Caleb's team, obviously McCaffrey holds you down, so he carries a lot of the weight, and then you get Mahomes. So that helps. But what I think is looking at your receivers and pass catching tight end, you're rolling out Taysom Hill, and then you got George Pickens. We don't know what that offense is going to look like. And then Malik Neighbors. We don't know. Daniel Jones sucks. We do know that.
Not the talent of Malik, but just it's the New York Giants.
We know the Giants suck. And then you got Olave as your alpha. But again, another situation with the Saints. How are they going to be this year? There could be some frustrations in New Orleans. I don't love the pass catchers you got.
I think Mixon at that spot, I would have rather have gotten another high quality pass catcher and deferred with, a couple RBs to fill, and hopefully one of them hits.
Yeah, and then with the Battle Bears, he went RB heavy. So I think he drafted 3 out of his first 5 rounds of RB: Pacheco, Kenneth Walker, and Najee. Which those are all high volume guys, and there's no doubt about that.
Man, I had fucking Najee Harris last year.
I mean,
and you can have a Grizz. I understand the thought with Arthur Smith being there that he runs the fucking football now, and he also they have an actual quarterback this year, so rather than when they were in Atlanta, they have no one there. So I get it. I think they're going to run the ball. I think just eye test, and I'm not just saying this because of my team. Again, they didn't put it on there. I think Jalen Warren is clearly just eye test wise a better football player.
Yeah.
And Najee can take the hits, he gets the totes, but I don't. When I would watch him last year, I'd be like, how's this guy starting? He has no burst. There's no burst.
He's a classic 20 carries for 67 yards.
He's mixing. He's like mixing. He's like mixing.
Getting the ball a lot, but not a lot of productivity.
By the way, I love Joe. He's fucking Texan. He's not like.
So that's where, I think that's where, and then your wide receiver 2 is Keon Coleman. That's definitely.
We're questioning Neighbors and
you definitely got to question.
And Harrison, we're gotta fucking question Keon Coleman. Like I don't even know if he's gonna be RB. Wide receiver 3 possibly,
and then early on. The rest of your receiver. I mean, then you have Jacoby Meyer and Jamison Williams. So your receiver 2 is looking a little suspect, which is why respectable overall nucleus, but that's probably why we had you a little bit further down in the rankings there, Grid.
And then coming in again, had 2 tied for 7th. Boss Hog at 6, so kind of middle of the pack. Again, rolling the dice with Caleb Williams.
That's a big question mark.
It's a big question mark. Obviously, the talent's there, but you just never know. First round. I think two kind of history things here. Go look at the fucking Chicago Bears quarterbacks, dude. For the history, it's truly fucking cursed. Almost like the baseball team was for a while until they brought that fucking goat in there.
Yep.
It was backwards. They brought the goat in and they were cursed. I can't remember. But anyways, it's a fucking cursed. And obviously, he has a great team around him. So that's what you're betting on, right? Is, hey, this guy was an all-around talent at USC. You're going to put him with fucking players all scattered around, a receiver, running back. I mean, so could be big. I think he'll be solid. I don't think he's going to be huge this year. Maybe like QB8. Aaron Jones on a decline. Again, I know Teagan's a little bitter. He left his team.
But bad football team probably this year, and injury concerns over the last few years. I think if he plays and maybe Sam, Mega Mind Darnold might be a little more competitive than we think, then he could end up being a good pick. But there's just some question marks there. And then I like the receiver room. I think a little bit above consensus.
Really young receiver crew. You have 2 second-year guys, and then Garrett Wilson's going to his 3rd or 4th year, but really, really young.
Yeah.
But again,
and Kincaid, your pass catcher's young too. You got a very young. I mean, this would be a hell of a dynasty team.
It would be a solid dynasty team. But just like, I think the volatility is going to be there. I think Garrett Wilson, again, he's a fucking stud. It's not his health we're worried about. It's the fucking quarterbacks. So is you're betting on Rodgers making it through a full year.
Yep. And then the day-old question is Saquon getting all of his touchdowns jacked by Jalen Hurts QB sneaking? Or is the Jason Kelce retirement change the game plan a little bit? Another one to be determined. So there's some question marks there. Not a bad team, but some question marks there for both.
I actually think it's really balanced this year. I think we had a really
fantastic balanced draft.
So I think it's splitting hairs, and obviously the waiver wire is going to be big. So I think everyone drafted really well. Coming in here again, I think the next 2 guys had their best drafts I think I have seen.
Yes, undoubtedly.
In a long time.
Undoubtedly. Both, by the way, with some help. So we do want to question
if Terry breaks 4 and if Tanner breaks 4 and make playoffs for that instance, there's an asterisk next
100%. Terry was on the phone like Dennis Quaid in draft day. That guy was making deals. He was zoned in.
He's bringing in someone in his general counsel that I think is what 30% of it. I mean, he's like, how old is Max? I mean,
he's 20. He's 19 years old.
So Terry's like what? Just roughly
61.
Third of his age.
A third of his age, man. But Terry was zoned in. Now the question is how much was my pops actually making the picks, or how much was little Max just bully balling him into things?
Your dad has no idea. Doesn't he have Rico Dowdle on his team?
No, he doesn't have Dowdle. He also told me he was taking Kyle Pitts 3rd round. He ended up snagging him in like the 6th or 7th. Maybe got talked out.
Your dad has no Tajay Spears. He took Tajay Spears. I thought early. I like Tajay Spears as a player, just not where he took him. And then Jalen Wright. You have no idea who either of those fucking guys are.
Receiving core very nice.
I like the team, man. Like, I think Rachaad White's a volume guy. Again, I don't think he's like a sexy player. Like Mixon and a very younger body.
Yeah.
You're gonna fucking take that.
Yeah.
Zach Moss, again, older guy, stepping into the Mixon role. Could lose
his job to Chase Brown. And I predict that by about week 5. Chase Brown's more explosive. Zach Moss, although looked good in a few games last year, but who couldn't look good behind that Colts offensive line? They usually run the ball well, no matter who's back there.
Really like the receivers, though. I mean, you got Waddle, Lamb,
and DJ Moore. That's strong with Lamar Jackson.
With Jackson Smith and Jigba.
Trumpsters was a good draft. But again, how much of it was you?
Well, how much do you fuck up down? I think that's the other thing.
When you lose $2,000, you got to kind of bring in some help, and you did that. Yeah. And we'll see how it turns out. And then, so again, Terry was at 5. We have Tanner here at 4. I really got a good draft.
I like his team, man.
Nicky, his brother-in-law was in his ear the whole time. He was sniping picks from Dylan left and right, but he had a fucking great draft.
I talked to him about it after, and he goes, "Cody, was this the best draft I had?" I go, "Dude, hands down, I really like your draft." Jordan Love, I think, is going to have another stellar year.
Yep. Yep. Yes, he
Travis
will. Super Bowl
Etienne,
Packers.
again, stud. James Cook, I think, is only going to go on the way up with that offensive coordinator coming in late. You saw him trending up. Cooper Kupp.
I love Cup.
I love him this year as well.
He's a Puka guy.
But this is a guy who's going to, that's a make or break pick. We're going to look back
break.
at your team. And if Cooper Kupp has even anywhere close to the year that he had, was it 2 years ago? I mean,
then you have Kupp and Jefferson.
Kupp and Jefferson.
And that alone.
No, what, you fucker? That was literally my picks last year. Yeah. So if it fucking works out for you, last year was abysmal. Jefferson had never been hurt in his career. Gets fucking hurt.
Yep.
Cooper Kupp, fucking stellar. I mean, he came in a little game type. I took her some risk, but fucking hurt the whole year. So
yep.
That
that could be a fantastic 1-2 combo. And then you have Xavier Worthy, who I think he's gonna have these kind of games, but these games that are up, I think there's gonna be some games where he has 4 catches for 120 yards.
Yeah, that's a tough one if you're gonna roll with that. He has Zamir White on the, know, if he needed to play more conservative, flex option,
big volume guy.
But yeah, damn man, I like the team. So you're on a good track. If you end up shitty, it's more on your play during the year. We're seeing coming in at 3.
I mean, we're seeing started off with 2 just boss hog volume running backs.
What do you want?
Derrick Henry, Jonathan
people
Taylor.
talking about Derrick Henry having 20 touchdowns this year, like it is a legit talk.
Yeah.
I mean, just think about what all the Baltimore running backs did as a group, and now you're
just
not
give them all to Derrick.
Pretty much, and even he was more involved in the pass game than he ever was last year in Tennessee.
So that
Jonathan Taylor, I think, is like the forgotten running back that we had. This guy's consensus RB1 a couple of years back. Had an injury, was a little bit plagued. And if he can return to anywhere like that, not to mention the nucleus around that Colts offense, it's better.
It's a lot better.
Like you have Anthony Richardson, who's a real issue with his feet.
Yep.
You have other receivers around him with the Adonai Mitchell, Pittman, fucking Josh Downs. I know he's hurt early in the year, but that's a damn good offense that I worry about for my Texans.
I think it's going to come down to if Richardson is successful in the pass game. If he can stretch the field a little bit, he's super inaccurate. But I think he's going to be a big play guy, and that's going to open up the game for JP.
He can fucking launch that bitch.
He can fucking launch it.
If he can put it on.
And then the receivers are strong, too. I mean, Keenan Allen, DK Metcalf, both solid. Christian Kirk's another guy. He's not sexy, but he just gets the job done. And then you got Kelsey. Now, Kelsey, the Taylor Swift rumors, all of those who follow the deep dive Twitter conspiracy.
Let Terry know. Tell Terry what's going on, Mr. Kaiser.
There's some right-wing guys that are actually saying that apparently some papers recently released, and the Kelsey, which this isn't hard to believe, the Kelsey T. Swift thing was all a scam. Kelsey had a full stack of notes, how they were going to interact at the press conferences, the lovey-dovey. It's all for nothing. It's all for nothing.
It's actually brilliant in terms of how much money they
marketing 101.
Everything. It's absolutely brilliant.
All of the Swifty Kelsey fans out there, they got duped. Apparently, they have a breakup coming the end of this month. How's that going to affect the team? How's that going to affect the Chiefs? It's all for nothing. And that was a pretty obvious one to see. There's a lot of people thought it was true love. Come on, guys. Be smarter than that. Come on.
I mean,
come on.
It's all about the money, baby. It's as if they both don't make
follow the money train. Kelsey's doing Pfizer commercials, signing $100 million podcast with Spotify with his brother Jason. The girls didn't care about Kelsey before he started dating T Swift. I mean, that was a money grab 101. And then T Swift, now she's got a bunch of NFL fans that like her. I mean, it's the NFL probably cut her a nice check. A very, very nice check.
At the end of the day, those two fuckers make so much goddamn money.
Like, they need more because the greedy need more.
Yeah, that is true. It's human nature.
The haves and the have-nots.
It's never enough. Ask my wife.
Kelsey will probably buy a football team one day.
But yeah, I think the receiver's a little bit older. I like DK Metcalf in the new offense this year. Keenan Allen could lose some role to Adunze, but before the end of the year is done, I think he's still a stud. But Dak Prescott, I really love Dak this year.
Dak was we'll get to it in a second, but Dak was at that point.
That point.
The guy finished QB3, and you got him, I think, 12th overall quarterback drafted. I mean, it was a great pick. And it goes to the rightful owner. We were saying, you had to watch Dak struggle against the Packers in the playoffs. Maybe this year he can turn it around, but
oh, you love it. The banter is
another
back,
dumpster fire in Dallas probably coming in about end of December, as typical.
But oh wow, they're cheering over here. We're like 6 minutes out.
We're about to kick off. So. God, I got 40 DraftKings teams. I'm ready to rock tonight. I might win 10 grand.
All right, baby. Rolling in number 2 is Dill Pill, the Hard 8.
Hard 8.
Again, just great draft, man. I mean, if T. Higgins, again, with whatever's going on with with
Jamar.
head honcho over there.
Yeah.
You know, who the fuck knows, like, how many weeks he's out. And now you have a perennial, you know, wide receiver one in a very pass-heavy offense. Debo in a contract year, you didn't even know that. You're welcome. I fucking was in between Nico and Debo, like, in my own head. My biasy went because I'm a fucking Texan. I wanted a Texan. You know.
But that's a good combo. And then you got the Jalen Hurts, AJ Brown stack, which is, I think that combo is going to be fantastic all year. They're OCs. They got a new OC in. Kellen Moore's there.
I forget about that.
Yeah, they're gonna be a much better looking off. Their offense was good last year, but it was tough to watch.
It wasn't the same
it was tough to watch. So and then the T Higgins thing, I think Burrow's got something to prove this year. I think he's gonna come out guns a-blazing. So I do like the Higgins pick. Jahmyr Gibbs,
Swift and Gibbs, two very pass heavy running backs, which
explosive guys.
Love that. Can hit at any point.
Yep. It's a good draft.
I mean, and then he's got Hopkins and Dunze on the bench.
Singletary, a nice little, 22 carries a game for about 57 yards and maybe a touchdown.
Yeah, fucking good luck.
Could get 12 points a game.
But our number one draft, and again, Tegan and I were talking about like
consensus.
Yeah, consensus number one. We were talking like this guy just rolls in with a fucking phone.
He's got his laptop. It's not charged. He's got his laptop. He doesn't use it. It doesn't even open.
I'm over here. Tegan saw before, and he was able to see my history of mock drafts and how many I've done. There had to have been 200 on there. I fucking put in hours. This guy just rolls in off the fucking street, fucking phone all banged up, and just goes in and fucking slams his fucking dick on the ground, just like. Fucking take this.
His golden nuts were dragging in the ground on the way home. I was
doing that, but
his golden nuts were dragging on the ground on his way home.
Joe Burrow, I mean,
for the year
again, he's gonna have a great year. Could hurt with Jamar Chase being out, and there's some risk talks. Is that truly back? That's probably the only thing. I'm just splitting hairs here, dude. There's nothing wrong with it. James Conner, steady 80, exactly what you need from an RB2. Kyron Williams, a lot of people talk about him being a top 5 running back. And not worried about him doing punts. Diggs, guys, it's still Stephon Diggs, dude.
And he's gonna get slinging it.
You're telling me they're not gonna get that guy the rock? Any contract year. Amon-Ra St. Brown, most consistent receiver in football. Sam Laporta, one of the, what he never been done before by a rookie tight end. What he did last year.
Yeah.
Mike Evans, again, steady Eddie over here. Jets D. You got Raheem Mostert, where again I talked about he could, even if he's a shadow of himself last year, still could be in there. Khalil Shakir, a lot of people's dark horses, wide receiver.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I think your 3 receivers. I saw you snag Josh Palmer this morning. I was a little not happy about that, but your 3 receivers on your bench could all end up being the wide receiver ones for their team. Which that's strong considering your starting receivers. There might be some trade activity happening with the Golden Nuts at some point. I mean, Brian Thomas, I think he's going to be fantastic this year.
Chuba Hubbard's RB1 with the Panthers.
He's got a good team. Golden Nuts.
I mean, that is.
You outdid yourself again, man.
That is stout, man. But kudos. Drag those nuts a little bit more, bronze them, and then turn them into gold. But guys, all around, I think it was a really even draft. It's going to be a really, really fun year.
Competitive year.
Really fun year. Really quickly. I think probably because of the length of pod, we were going to go through the whole weekly matchups. I don't know if we still want to do that.
We'll act that.
We do want to very quickly go into our worst pick of the draft and what we thought was our best value pick of the draft. Yeah. And hands down, again, consensus, we thought worst pick of the draft was Jonathan Brooks. By Kaiser Sose. Number one, they had no fucking clue that this guy is not playing football for 4 weeks.
His magazines, I texted this in the group text. I think his magazines were probably the July edition.
Whatever that guy he met in the mountains, that guy was fucking high. He came high this time.
He was on an ayahuasca trip.
He was so stoked about the championship last year. You probably gave him some shekels. Like, hey man, go get ripped. And this dude just came in, just fucking off of wax and fucking edibles and just fucking ayahuasca, whatever the fuck he's doing. But yeah, so it was round 6, pick 2, and his current ADP is round 9, pick 1.
Oh.
So they picked him as like, man, how do you think about this RB2? I'm like, yeah, that's great. He's not playing for 4 weeks, and even then, he fucking tore his shit, and he hasn't even like practiced or had game to get fully ramped up for an NFL season.
It's gonna be a while.
We're not just like being able to play the game of football. We're talking about like full speed, understanding the offense, being on the same page as the quarterback, the lineman. I mean, I know it could be back week 4,
No,
but like
that,
I don't
that,
see
that
it
was
going back
drafted
after
as running back 2, and that's just not a good pick. And not to mention, I mentioned this at the draft. I mean, if the Panthers suck again this year, which they probably will, what's the rush to bring a guy that you drafted that high, you think is the future of your, offensive firepower? Why bring him back in week 6 when you're 1-5? Even if they do bring him back, I think it'll be in a more reserved role.
Well, it's all about miles, right?
Yeah,
It's like how many miles
waste
you gonna
that.
put on this?
Don't
Like,
waste that.
why put miles on a brand new car?
Yeah.
It's not worth it.
Don't drive the Corvette to daycare. That's when you get in the minivan and you pick up the kids. You don't drive the Corvette to daycare.
So they are rolling out Rico Dowdle week 1, which again I like Rico Dowdle as a player. It's just I don't like him as
It's
RB,
a bad pick.
RB
Kaiser's, y'all are better than that.
And best pick in terms of value is that was Green Jackets and Dak.
Dak, yeah.
Last pick in the 9th round. Like I this guy was QB3 last year.
Yeah.
And every year he's so slept on. I don't understand why. Because he's always a consistent
they
top
sling the
6,
rock.
top 5. They just fucking throw the ball.
And they're not going to be able to run the ball that well this year either. You mentioned Rico Dowdle and Zeke. It's not like they're going to have a prolific run game. I think Dak's going to be slinging it 40 times a game again. And that just, you put up numbers. Not to mention you have CeeDee Lamb on the outside. So Dak in that round, if I would have known I could have got Dak 6 rounds later than I took Kyler, I might have waited a little bit longer. So
I mean, to be honest, that's who I was targeting the whole entire draft. But then I kept seeing the sexy pick of Richardson just continue to fall, and I'm like, oh man. I pulled the trigger, but now again, if I would have known I could have got him at 9, I'd have waited on Richardson.
Good pick, Weirson.
But guys, football's fucking back. We're so here. Zyn is back. Beers are back.
Zyn's back.
Fucking,
we're all back.
We got a fucking game Friday. We have a game fucking Friday this week. Are they playing in Brazil?
Sao Paulo, Brazil.
I really hope the Packers get absolutely squashed. Go Eagles.
Just got back from New Orleans about 2 hours ago. We already put in our future 150-1 Packers Texans in the Super Bowl. Book it. It's pretty much a lock. It's going to be a fantastic year.
I'm cool with that. If as long as the Texans make it, I'm totally cool with the Packers being.
We're on the up and up, baby. It's in NOLA. The Super Bowl's in NOLA. I cannot wait to go watch Jordan Love win Super Bowl MVP this year. It's going to be fantastic. Can't wait to win the league. I didn't mention my team. Clearly, I would have been at the top of the ranking. Sorry, Golden Nuts. Cody's team.
Do not say.
There's going to be some early tentacles lost.
Look at the history. Perhaps. Look at the history. The history shows I'm above you. You're below me.
History is just that. It's history. It's in the past. I'm a forward-looking guy. And this is the year for me. Commission's coming back. I rule with an iron fist. Great seeing you guys. First and Zyn. Hopefully we can have.
You're going down week 1.
Hopefully we can have somebody else on the pod.
Kyle Pitts. That's a good choice. His hamstring's fine. You should play him.
Kaiser Sose, maybe the first guest after winning a championship. Kaiser Sose, I'd like you to dress up again there, Johnny.
We're doing Zooms this year, guys. We don't necessarily have to do the in-person thing. We found that Zoom is more compatible with our system.
Zoom is compatible.
Uploads much better.
But we're happy to have you in person too. We're happy.
We like a nice.
We're happy to do that too. But we're flexible. Put it like that.
Maybe we should come up with some interesting games along the way. We're gonna get fun this year. It's gonna be a great fucking year. But guys, football's back.
We're back.
Appreciate you tuning in. Let's fucking go week 1, baby.
Let's go. First and 1.
Let's fucking go.